Hello my dear students, welcome back to Nucleus8's 5-minute series. In our last video, we have already studied about the first part of plasma membrane, about the phospholipids, how they are aligned in plasma membrane. If you have yet not watched that video, then you will not understand what I am talking in this video. So it's better, the link is given in description box, open it, watch it and then come back here. It is just a matter of 5 minutes. Okay, so in our last video, we studied that phospholipids are present in cell membrane and they are aligned in a discrete manner. But does that mean that only phospholipids are present in cell membrane? The answer is no, because in plasma membrane or cell membrane, you will also find cholesterols, protein and also the carbohydrate. Yes, these all things are present in the plasma membrane itself and they are having discrete function to carry it out. So this cell membrane, the structure of cell membrane was firstly studied on red blood cells, and that's why the proportion of the or ratio of the lipids to protein is given here as 52% proteins and 40% lipids are present in red blood cell. This ratio may vary according to cell. From cell to cell, it will go on varying. Now, these proteins, they are having a very special role in plasma membrane, that is about the transport, signaling and lot many roles they are playing. So these proteins are also having different structures, different alignment in the cell membrane. Based upon how easily these proteins are extracted, they are further classified as integral or intrinsic protein and or peripheral or extrinsic proteins. Now, if we see the structure of cell membrane, which is being provided in NCERT book, then you will definitely be able to see the small head. You can see these round head structures of the phospholipids. There are these tails of the phospholipids. I have already explained why always heads are facing towards either cytoplasm or out of the cell in our last video. So please do watch it. And there are these plasma membrane phospholipid tails which are facing towards each other, right? But along with them there are these proteins. Can you see there's a big marble-like structure? These are certain proteins which are present in the cell membrane. Now, there are certain proteins which are present only on the surface, like they are much more towards the surface. And there are certain proteins which are embedded throughout the cell membrane to reach to the other side. Okay, so those proteins which are present only on the surface are known as peripheral proteins. So you can see it here even. These are the peripheral proteins which are not much embedded inside the cell membrane. But you can see this protein which is totally embedded inside the cell membrane, that is called as a integral protein. Integral protein is also known as intrinsic protein. Peripheral protein is also known as extrinsic protein. In case of integral protein, there are certain integral proteins which are not completely embedded throughout the cell, just like this. They are like embedded, but they are partially embedded. So integral protein can be partially embedded or completely embedded. So if suppose you want to study about these proteins, of course we need to extract that protein, to remove that protein from that cell membrane. So to extract this protein, of course peripheral proteins will be easily detached from that cell membrane. But what about integral protein? Integral protein will not be easily detached from the cell membrane. We will require certain crude methods in which we generally make the use of detergents. So detergents detach, or you can say loosen up the proteins which are present embedded in the cell membrane, and when it gets loosened up, of course easily they will be detached, right? So this is how the integral and extrinsic protein are classified. But before studying this cell membrane and before having a short structure of cell membrane, there were so many scientists studying about this cell membrane, the structure of cell membrane, and that's why the most accepted theory or most accepted model of that cell membrane that we are using till date is having a huge history. So let us learn about that history. So there were these two scientists whose names were Danieli and Devson, who came up in 1935 with a lamellar model of cell membrane. In this model, they told that cell membrane is made up of 4 layers. It is not a bilayer, it is a 4-layered structure. That's how they exposed the cell membrane. But then came one more model, that was Robertson model, which was given in 1959. He told that these 4 layers are arranged in a discrete pattern. And what is that pattern? So this lipid bilayer, there is a lipid bilayer of lipid means 2 layers of lipid sandwiched between the protein layers. You must have eaten this delicious sandwich where we have this one slice of the bread upside, one slice of the bread downside, and then there are the stuffs present in between, right? So here also that is called a sandwich actually, when the stuff is pressed in between 2 slices. Same thing happens here as per Robertson model. The protein, one protein layer and another protein layer, just sandwich is the stuff that is called as lipid layer. That's what they told. But then came the master of all these models, that is fluid mosaic model, which was given by Singer and Nicholson. These are the 2 different scientists named as Singer and Nicholson who gave this model in 1972, and that's why this model is also known as Singer-Nicholson model. So what they told was, they compared those proteins which are embedded in the cell membrane to the icebergs, and those phospholipids, they compare it with sea. So you must have seen the Titanic movie in which that Titanic crashed to the iceberg. So iceberg generally it is like a huge ice stone which is embedded down beneath to the sea. The same thing happens in case of cell membrane. You can see it here. There is this sea of phospholipids and there are certain proteins which are looking like the icebergs. But this model was named as fluid mosaic model because fluid is referred to lipids. Lipids are actually continuously moving. They are moving like a liquid, and that's why they considered as a fluid. So lipids are considered here fluid. And mosaic means the pebbles, the small tiny those colorful pebbles which gives a nice appearance to the vase. Those are mosaic. So some such colorful things are also present inside this lipid membrane that are considered as proteins. So proteins are referred as mosaic here. So fluid mosaic model includes lipids and proteins as the reference. Now when we consider lipid as fluid here, yes, the lipids are actually giving quasi-fluid nature. Quasi-fluid means they are false fluid. It appears that they are fluid in nature, okay, which allows the lateral movement of protein. Proteins keep on moving in that lipid because of the fluid nature of the lipids. So if you draw the cell membrane here, and if this is the protein, so when this protein will complete one round here, we will be able to measure the speed of fluidity. We'll be able to measure how is that fluidity, right? This measurement of fluidity will definitely help us to know the different functions that are performed in the case of cell membrane. So cell membrane's fluidity gives a very important role of cell membrane in cell growth. Formation of intercellular junctions means this is one cell, this is another cell. There are cell to cell communications done through signals and through different molecules are being transported within cells. So to form that junction, to form that connectivity within the cell, it is known as intercellular junction. The cell membrane plays a crucial role. Also the secretion means when any cell gives out any molecule, then that is known as secretion. Endocytosis means engulfment of any particular molecule which is present outside. So anything like nutrient is absorbed from the surrounding medium by the cell, so that can also be performed by the cell, performed due to the fluidity. And then comes the cell division, a very crucial part of the cell. Along with this, cell membrane is also performing a very important point, that is transportation of different molecules. Like there is active transport, passive transport, diffusion, osmosis, so many things are going around. That is because only of the cell membrane. To learn further part of this topic and many such topics, stay tuned with Nucleus-Ed. And if you have not yet subscribed our channel, come on, subscribe it and hit the bell icon so that you will get the notification when I put such videos.